Hello everyone and welcome. I'm Cindy Daychuk, founder of the Titan Training Group and author of the book, It's Time Now, Choose the Life You Really Want. In this video series, I want to really take a moment to address an ongoing issue that many of my clients have been identifying recently. And I recognize that if I'm getting this many people struggling with issues and questions about bragging, about self-promotion, then the odds are that many of you out there are also struggling with this same issue. So I wanted to put together this brief video series to be able to help provide you with some direction and some support in this area. If it's something that you've done any research into or any looking into, you're going to find that the resources are a little bit limited out there right now. Few organizations are providing any kind of training or support for individuals in helping them brag about themselves any better. And there are very few books that really provide some of the direction that you need. I'm going to try and bridge some of that gap for you. Because at the end of the day, what my clients have been expressing is a very real frustration, something that they've been encountering, and this is across levels within organizations and certainly across industries with organizations that I've dealt with. And what these individuals have been finding primarily is that despite their hard work and despite their efforts and their achievements and accomplishments on behalf of the organization, they seem to very often be losing ground to those individuals that are perhaps accomplishing less, but that promote themselves better and more. And despite perhaps my clients' dislike of self-promotion, they're starting to recognize the need for it, that they're getting more and more frustrated with the fact that their lack of skill in promoting themselves and marketing themselves is ultimately costing them. My hope is that I'm able to give you enough over the course of this video series for you to be able to take some positive action for yourself and to be able to develop strategically your skill in this area to help you promote yourself better and prevent yourself from losing ground in the same way. You know, bragging has never been something that we have looked upon as being a necessary skill. But the world of work is shifting. It's changed dramatically over the course of the past 30 years, 20 years, 10, even within the past 5. If you look at the amount of downsizing and right-sizing and restructuring that's taken place, you can see that we're having to do more with fewer people. It means as well that competition has gotten more and more fierce over the years for those few positions and opportunities that do arise. So that as we look to our careers and we look to advance perhaps, we're having to be much more strategic about how we position ourselves within our marketplace, within that organizational environment, so that we have the visibility we need to stand out from the crowd and be given the opportunities that we believe we rightfully deserve. How do we do that? It's the biggest challenge, is it not? So within the framework of these 3 videos, what I want to do is give you a bit of a system, a bit of a way of being able to set up some of these strategies for yourself. When we look at certainly this first video, what I want to do is spend a little time with you talking about the why. And here, intellectually, we may get the why marketing is important, but you're all smart people. My clients are smart people. They get that they should be doing this. What's not happening is them actually doing it. What we want to do is bridge some of that gap. But the understanding of why is an imperative. All too often, we jump into doing. We just identify what we need to do and we want to jump out there and get doing it. But then we hit some barriers, we hit some obstacles, because the doing entails shifting our habits. And changing our habits is never comfortable. Establishing new habits is never easy. And when the going gets tough, if we don't have a firm idea of why we're doing this in the first place, of what those advantages to us are, we'll abandon our efforts. And all of those actions will have been for naught because we revert back to our comfort zone. And for most of us, our comfort zone is just working harder. We do more, and we just hope that somebody is going to notice it. We hope that our work will speak for us. But in today's marketplace, everybody is overworked. Your boss is overworked. I get some of you may debate that point, but for the most part, we're all having to make do. And for us to expect that our boss is going to have the time to be able to focus on our careers, on keeping track of everything that we've done, that we contribute, what all of our key strengths and talents are, is a falsehood. And it's going to cost us in the long run. So understanding the why, important. The second video, though, we're going to shift into talking about the what. And here what I want to address with you is the what you need to market. You, like everybody else, represent a host of skills, talents, and abilities. You have tremendous knowledge and expertise. You cannot promote yourself on the basis of all those things that you bring to the table. Nobody would remember them all. And they're not going to stand out by virtue of the diversity of the message. If you think about products as they go to market, you could have a product that could do 20 different things. But nobody markets a product based on those 20 things. They market it based on the one or two key things that that product could do for you. Because that's memorable. You're going to have that in mind. When you see that product out on the shelf, you're going to immediately key into that one or two things that it could do for you, and you'll buy it on that basis. If you're staring at that product on the shelf and you're trying to remember all 20 things, you've diluted the message, and that stronger message of a different product is going to win out. So too for you. One of the things we'll talk about with the what is starting to identify what some of those key strengths are, helping you to be able to narrow down that framework. What you want to do is you want to find some ways to highlight your areas of difference, your areas of uniqueness. It's not about selling yourself into being part of the group. It's about selling yourself so you stand out from the group. We want you to have some distinction. We want that to be memorable. We need it to be consistent. And that's why we need to narrow that messaging down so that your message becomes consistent across people, across situations, and across time. When you get a group of people then sitting down talking about you, the description of you, the experiences they've had with you are going to be described in very consistent terms. That builds trust. It builds faith. People can hang their hat on that. They can put their trust in that, and people will promote that. The third video, we're going to talk a little more specifically about the how. We're going to talk about some specific tactics, strategies that you can use in order to be able to address the what. Knowing what to say is one part of it. But how do I say it? How do I fit it into conversation? How do I actually give voice to it is the other component. How do I make this just a natural and ongoing part of my discussion with individuals? How do I fit it in conversation so it seems natural and it doesn't seem like this huge bragging moment, right? Where it's almost like I brought my own spotlight to shine on me. With the how, it's all about ease. It's developing that comfort. It's segueing into those little moments that highlight some skill, some trait, some ability of our own that keeps us top of mind, that lets other people know about what some of those key contributions have been. It's about heightening awareness. This is the nature of the 3 videos that I've put together for you. Obviously today we're focusing on one, we're focusing on the why. Because it's important that you understand why you would want to do this. What's in it for you? Why there's an advantage to you? And really at the end of the day, Failing to do this means that you're probably going to lose out to somebody who is taking that initiative, that is developing those skills. Usually when I get some pushback on this concept of bragging, it's for one of three key barriers, one of three key reasons. The first is that really the whole concept of bragging has gotten a bad rap. We have this concept of bragging as being this huge, big braggadocio, a braggart, right? We have this vision of somebody where everything that they say is about them. They're very self-focused, self-centered, selfish. And that doesn't sound very appealing. It doesn't sound like somebody that we like or we want to spend time with. And certainly, if you've come in contact and had the opportunity to spend time with a braggart in the past, you know what I'm talking about. It's not somebody that we think of very favorably or very positively. What's important to know, though, is that that is just one end of the continuum. That's far, far skewed to one side. On the other end of the continuum, we have a host of different activities and behaviors that we can engage in, different tactics and strategies we can employ to be able to promote ourselves. We don't have to skew over and join the other braggarts in the world for us to become an effective, polished, and professional bragging machine. It's about finding ways that fit for you, that are comfortable for you, because then you'll continue to do them. You'll replicate them. And we need to have some frequency and some consistency of those behaviors for them to start making a difference for you. So I want you to consider that bragging needs to be redefined, reframed in your mind. A braggart, fine. Let them be out in right field on their own, where they deserve to be. We don't like them, we're not comfortable with them. Too selfish a behavior for us, cool. But I want you to reframe your vision of bragging so that you see the potential down at this end of the continuum. That we have a wealth of behaviors that we can engage in that are going to be very palatable for us, they're going to be comfortable for both us and our audience. And that becomes the important consideration for us. Second big barrier, of course, goes back to even my discussion about the videos. And that's that, second biggest barrier is that people don't know what to brag about. They don't know what to talk about or what to say. And usually because we don't stop to think about our career paths from the standpoint of our accomplishments. We tend to get caught up in the doing. And usually the doing is dictated by the organization. So day after day, we're getting things done, but we're not stopping to really consider what went into that. What were some of the key strengths that I utilized in order to be able to meet that? How does that set me apart from others within the organization? Why was I the best person to complete that particular task? In identifying and spending some time in identifying the what, it gives us the content of our messages. Think about it this way. You're engaged in a job search. And usually when we're engaged in a job search, that's the one time that we make some effort to be able to sell ourselves. We go back and we revisit our past work history. We break down activities to try and pull from them what would be some of our key accomplishments and key strategies that we've used in order to be able to complete those assignments. We do some thinking and some strategizing about this, and we try and give voice to some stories that are going to highlight those examples. I want you to start considering that you're on a perpetual job interview. I want you to be capable of doing that at any given moment. Don't have to be involved in a formal job search external to the organization if you are always looking to maintain the right or accessibility to different opportunities. You want a promotion, you want different opportunities, you want to broaden your skill base, which means getting onto perhaps different teams or projects. Then we need to ensure that you're constantly selling yourself. And think about it from that job interview perspective, perhaps brings it home a little bit more in terms of the types of things that you need to start to do. keeping that list of potential brag bites together. What are those different accomplishments? What are those different things that you've achieved that you might need to pull in at any given moment? Keeps you a little bit more up to date. Third barrier, of course, is not the I don't know what to say, but I don't know how to say it. And this becomes, for a lot of people, an even bigger challenge. Because this, we could do on paper. We could spend time putting together our list of our different accomplishments, our different achievements, our skills, our talents, our abilities. We could spend time developing some strategy that highlights what those key strategies would be for us. This piece tends to be the stumbling block. Okay, this is all well and good, but this is on paper. This is in my head. I'm okay with that. It's the now I actually have to talk about it. That's the piece that tends to create that final barrier, and that starts to separate people out from the doers, the people that are going to promote. What I want you to consider is that, again, there's a whole host of different strategies and tactics that you can employ here. You are going to find some that are comfortable for you. And here I get that in bragging, we tend to think about extroverts having an advantage. And certainly in some respects, they do. It's the real extroverts that sometimes take it a little too far and can go too far onto that braggart end of things. But I need you to start to recognize that there are a lot of tactics that can be employed very successfully by introverts that are going to be comfortable for people that are shy or that lack some of the skill or conversational finesse. We're gonna be able to get you there, but I need you to recognize that it's just a different tactic, and you can develop some comfort and skill with some of the tactics that are down here. And as they become more comfortable, then this tactic doesn't seem as scary or as intimidating. Doesn't seem like such a big jump anymore, and you might be able to slowly continue to build and grow your skill set. But there will be some things that you can do that already move you forward further than where you are today. You just need to remain open to starting to give some of them a try. It's what I hope to be able to give you over the course of these 3 videos. Certainly in the last video, we're going to talk about 3 really key and very simple tactics that you can employ. We're not going to start off hard, but I'm going to give you some very distinct tactics that you could use in order to be able to set you apart. All right? So as we move forward, we're going to round out the perception and your perspective of what it takes to be more effective at bragging, more effective at promoting yourself, and by virtue of that, then opening up future opportunities for yourself. Until next time, remember, you are the difference that you want to see in your life. So go out and do something different today.